Hi, everyone. I just want to share some things about Venus today because there's quite a big transition going on, but it's a big story. So I'm going to try and do this pretty quickly in about 10 minutes and see how we go. Okay, first of all, here's what's going on. We have Venus that's just gone into Libra, ingressed into Libra, 0 Libra, which is a critical degree, by the way. Libra, of course, is Venus's rulership sign, one of her rulership signs, but don't let that fool you. And what happens is she immediately forms a trine to Pluto, which is great. But where did this cycle begin? And what happened in the halfway point? And what else is involved? So let's start from the beginning. Here is where it started. Venus was conjunct Pluto in Aquarius on February earlier this year. So the cycle between Venus and Pluto began in February. Okay, when you see two planets forming a conjunction, that's called a new phase conjunction. It's a brand new cycle between those two planets. So we're talking about Pluto, which is the soul. We're talking about Pluto, which is transformation, death, rebirth, intensity, obsession, compulsion, a number of different things. I'll give you some of the keywords in a moment. In relation to Venus, which is your own world of love, your own world of relationships, your ability to relate to people, everything you value, love, and share with others, your own self-worth, how you value yourself. Basically, she is the magnetic principle of relatedness. And that relatedness speaks to any relationship, absolutely any relationship. As I have said numerous times, Venus, Libra, 7th house, is an area of our life or an area of the chart that reflects any one-on-one encounter, engagement, connection we have. It doesn't matter if it's with a child or a lover or a friend or a family member. Venus rules the principle of relatedness, period. So we're talking about our Venusian part of life, how we love and share. Of course, also it speaks to our creativity and the world of money and material things. But at the moment, she's in Libra, so she's really, really highlighting this journey that we started back in February. Now, there's going to be all sorts of examples, scenarios, and differences. Some people might have started a relationship in February. Some people would have already been in a relationship. Some people might have ended a relationship. Some people might have been somewhere in between. You know, it just depends what's going on in your life. But even if you're not in a relationship, this energy can speak to just simply your whole style of relating with everyone around you. You know, you may not be in a personal, intimate relationship, but you are relating with people every single day. That includes, you know, your friendships, friends, and things like that. So don't see it as just this being significant for, you know, your lover or your husband or your wife or your partner, right? This is all relationships, period. So the cycle began here with, you know, with Mars right next to Venus as well. So, you know, it's a pretty intense, energized portal that began. Mars and Pluto, both planets of will and passion and drive and desire. And in Aquarius, of course, it does speak to detachment, objectivity, exploring different things in relationships, finding different things about yourself in relationships, appreciating the differences, just exploring things that you've never explored before, Aquarius, right? And stepping outside of the box and trying new ways or new things in relationships, or meeting somebody in the most unusual circumstances, and it starts off as a friendship and then it develops into something else, because Aquarius is a sign of friendship, and Venus does also connect to friendships. So keep all that in mind. Now, as we move forward, what happened was on the 13th of July, Venus entered Leo and she opposed Pluto. So that cycle that began in February got to its halfway point in July. And that would have been a pretty intense period as well, where things either came to some sort of culmination, or just the ability to see things more clearly about where you stand, right, in a particular relationship. It could have brought about incredible drama and intensity. You know, drama is a great word for Venus in Leo. Things just might have really blown up at that time. Things come to light with an opposition. It's basically the energy of a full moon. So think about that as well. And then when we fast forward to the present moment, Venus is in Libra, so she forms a trine to Pluto. So this is the part of the journey where there can be some type of rebalancing, Venus in Libra, of matters that have been going on since February in all relationships. As I said, this is a rebalancing, and the ability to transform, or to rebirth, to completely let go perhaps of a person, partner situation, if it's gotten to that point. The trine aspect is a supportive, flowing energy. There is no resistance. That's the key here. It's a natural resolution, a natural supportive energy. Things just flow in the direction that they need to. There's no resistance, okay? But the tricky thing about this is that Venus is, as you can see, she's going to form a conjunction to the South Node and to Juno. And by that stage, which is just in 3 days' time, Lilith will be there as well, which I've spoken about this already. So I will not unpack it. There is a video on my channel which is called, what is it? Oh, Mercury direct, Venus, Lilith, Juno, South Node, all aligned. That's a 42-minute video, and that just really focuses on Lilith, Venus, Juno, South Node. So if you want to know more about what that means, you know, just listen to that video. But understand that Venus entering Libra, forming a trine to Pluto, is not some isolated event, as it were. It began in February. This whole cycle began at that point. So all the things that have happened from then until now have really come to a point of some type of resolution, and a rebalancing, resetting is going to occur, okay? And because it is Pluto, though, Pluto, it never necessarily brings things in an easy sort of manner, if you like. You still have to go through the Pluto process of things, which does mean dying to certain things. Now, this can be a shift in our love patterns, our love attitudes that we have, whether it's towards friends or family or lovers. The complexities and the dynamics involved in the numerous type of relationships we have with people can all be reflected under the umbrella of this Venus-Pluto cycle, okay? And what really amps this up even more is that the solar eclipse, which is on the 3rd of October, is actually in Libra. Solar eclipses are extremely powerful when they activate something in our chart, more so than lunar eclipses, and particularly because they tend to bring things to a critical point, a crisis point. The solar eclipses tend to bring external manifestations of things. So things shift on that external level. So we have this whole story of Venus Pluto that started in February that came to some sort of culmination around about July. Now, that culmination could have shown you how bad things were or how great things were. It just depends on what relationship you are talking about and what relationship this was really focused on for yourself. And the trine from Venus to Pluto today and over the next couple of days it's kind of it's a support, if you like, from the universe, helping you work through and release perhaps whatever's been building up and whatever's been playing out, and enabling you to now work through that in a more harmonious way. But this requires consciousness, it requires awareness, and it requires aligning with the soul's will and mission, okay, which is Pluto. But this solar eclipse that occurs in October, this is already active. Solar eclipses kick in 3 months before the actual date. And as you can see, this is really just over a month away, this particular eclipse. So we're well and truly into the portal of this energy of the eclipse. And it is a very difficult eclipse. If you read the Sara cycle, which I've actually spoken about this previously, of where this particular family of eclipses was born, the chart for that moment of this family of eclipses, when it was born, which was just under 1,000 years ago at some point. That's what happens with eclipses. They create this family, and this family cycles forward over a period of time, anywhere between 800 to 1,300 years, right? They're really long cycles, and they do speak, therefore, to past life things that we revisit and re-meet and need to transform, evolve through, work through, and so forth, right? So this eclipse is actually a very difficult one, is what I'm getting at. And so a lot of people that are facing challenging situations in relationships this year especially, it's all very much connected to this eclipse and what's been happening with this Venus-Pluto cycle, which started in February. So really we've been in and out of this Venus-Pluto journey pretty much from the beginning of 2024, okay? And we're just sort of reaching the end of it now, but we're not at the end just yet. The point being, however, that today when Venus trines Pluto, there is an opportunity, for something to really be transformed here. And again, it's always up to us, okay? Because Venus in Libra is always the mirror of truth, if we have the eyes to see that. And the mirror of truth is simply about seeing what's being reflected back to you, whether you like it or whether you don't, whether it's uncomfortable or otherwise. It's about having the ability to be objective enough to see what's being reflected back to you, not for the purposes of criticizing yourself or another, but merely to balance things out and recognize, where is it that I still need to grow? Or where have I grown? How and where have I grown through this process? It's a beautiful opportunity to really see things very clearly at this time, and some people might have been able to resolve a lot of things and keep the relationship going. If it's a personal, intimate relationship. If it's other types of relationships, again, you'll have new insights and new understanding just about your own patterns in the way you relate with people. We are always transforming. We are always learning. We are always, integrating new ways of relating and sharing and connecting with others based on the unconscious material that is within all of us that gets activated or triggered, at different points in life. And I feel that 2024, with this Venus, Pluto, Mars cycle that began basically earlier, this year, this whole year has been strongly emphasized and colored by Pluto. And with Pluto, it's do or die kind of thing, It's it's a golden opportunity to really to advance the soul's evolution relative to the deepest principle of love, right? And I'm not talking about getting caught up in the net of illusions and just staying in the romantic love and projecting the ideal onto the other and being totally disillusioned and blindsided, which is all Neptune Pisces material. And that's been going on a lot for a lot of people. This is now a time to really get into Pluto's ability to have that X-ray vision, right? And basically penetrate incredibly deeply into any relationship, okay? And look at the motivations of what's driving your behavior. Look at everything, examine everything. This is an examination portal. But because it's a trine aspect between Venus and Pluto, it's letting us know that there's a support and an energy that can help us flow through this, there's not a resistance coming up. If it was Venus square Pluto, there'd be a lot of resistance. There would still be a lot of growth, okay? The square aspects, they are so dynamic and they bring, some of the biggest challenges, but they bring the most powerful growth as well, provided we can work through that. In this case, though, there's no resistance. Just important to understand that. So, if we miss this window, then what's going to happen is in a few days' time, when that Venus catches up, to Juno and the South Node and Lilith catches up, it's all going to be very, very close to the degrees of this solar eclipse in Libra, which is a very difficult family of eclipses for relationships. And so if we haven't worked through things and haven't been able to be real and honest and raw and see the mirror of truth, Libra, about ourselves, about our motivations, our hidden agendas, what's driving us, all these sorts of things, then the passage of Venus, Juno, South Node, Lilith is going to be pretty difficult because it'll just bring up the stuff that we've denied, that we've suppressed, that we've blocked, that we're still, not able to look at in a really honest way. So this is a great time right now to really be upfront and close with all the material that's transpired in your own life relative to relationships. This could be a relationship with your mother. We all have different relating styles, relating patterns. We all have different conditioned ways that we respond emotionally. What's driving the psychology behind that? What are we looking for? If you are really interested in developing and evolving and integrating and continuously working on yourself, these portals are the perfect time to work through this stuff in a very profound way, not in an intellectual way, but to really feel into this. Pluto, the soul. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share today. And just have a listen to this. These are some principles of the combination of energy that Venus-Pluto brings up. Deep, intense passions, renewing and regenerating forces in relationships, the power of love and the drive to unite, the interplay of beauty and the beast, a tendency toward obsessive attractions, feelings of jealousy and possessions, passive aggression or manipulation, a love of power. Now, I know a few people around me, personally and otherwise, that are going through exactly this very thing in their life, or have been this year. Here's some other thoughts. Primal feelings of love and attraction, deep and intense passion, the sense of a positive fatedness operating in one's partnerships. Now, this point here is really interesting because Pluto does really correspond to fate. Fate and destiny are two very different things. And fate is, it's a strong word, and a lot of people are very uncomfortable with it because it tends to bring up inside people this sense of, I feel powerless because this is just so fated. I can't do anything about it. But it doesn't mean that at all. It means that, sure, the relationship or the connection that you've made with somebody might be fated. That part of it is fated. But how you respond to it, how you react to it, how you grow through it, that is your free will. That's where you have free will. The fate part is just re-meeting that person because there's something unfinished between your soul's evolution and that soul's evolution. And that's the reason why you have reunited, to actually grow and evolve out of certain patterns. That's the only reason we re-meet people, pretty much, in a nutshell. So here's a few more comments. A big and deep heart, an embrace of the healing power of love, emotional and social healing. Where there is great love, there are always miracles, he says. I'll tell you who I'm reading from in a moment. An instinct for approaching dark or heavy situations with grace and kindness. That's one possibility. Of course, this is my own speaking now. The other possibility is getting drawn into the darkness of another person's chaos and being, captivated by it. The dark side of life, it has so many layers to it. And, in certain cases, we can be so drawn into that through the mystery of it, right? We can be so intrigued and we're compelled to open that door and have a look at what's there, because Pluto has this obsessive compulsive drive, right? And it's like you can't stop that drive from Pluto. It's going to go there. If it's going to go there, it's going to go there, right? But when you go there, be prepared to see everything that's there, and be prepared to see a lot of things that they're not going to be easy. You're not going to like them. But if you've opened that door, then you have to walk through there and you have to see why have you done that? What is it about this journey and this process that you need to see about your own self in this world? What is it reflecting back to you? And it's coming through a particular person, a particular relationship, their world, their ways, and so on and so forth, right? Here's some shadow qualities: overbearing sweetness or friendliness, a manipulatively yin style, passive forms of aggression, a pushy or obnoxious aesthetic, a love of power, power infatuation, urges to control one's friends and loved ones, intense projections, damaging one's friendships, romantic obsessions, dangerous or forbidden love, harmful temptations, sexual addictions, throwaway relationships, urges to use sex or beauty for ulterior purposes, a habit of destroying what one loves, loving what is lost or dead, the shadow side of beauty, dangerous beauty, the challenging side of being too beautiful, feelings of jealousy and possessiveness, a sense of betrayal. Love is fire, but where is it going to warm your heart or burn your house down? That's such an interesting line that he's got there. Then he says, you can never tell. This is the thing with Venus, Pluto, you might go into this love is fire, kind of zone with somebody, this, incredible, intense sort of obsessive attraction, and it'll burn your fucking house down. And I've seen it happen to somebody around me recently. Okay, vulgar or coarse sexuality, a raunchy or crude style, sexuality as a dark continent, mixtures of pleasure and the parental plutonic themes of suffering, aggression, demonic energies, And I've seen that as well in this particular individual's life. The person that this person attracted literally was demonic. Yeah, just unbelievable what I've seen in the last recent times. Anyway, those are just some key things. They're pretty dark things, but they're the shadow qualities of Venus Pluto. Okay, it's just, you can't you can't not look at those things. It's really important to be aware of them. Forbidden, dangerous, fated love, it's all that stuff, femme fatale, and the person that I've seen go through all of this, that person was stalking that other person and they were spying on them, and it was this obsession. Oh, it was like, what's that movie? With that it's an old 80s movie with Glenn Close and that other actor, very famous actor, Michael Douglas. You guys know the one I'm talking about, where she was obsessed with Michael Douglas. It's an old 80s movie about basically, a possessed person over somebody. This is the sort of stuff that Pluto Venus can bring up. Now, there's milder versions of that, and then there's really severe and extreme versions, and it varies and it depends on, the individuals involved and how unevolved people are as to what's going to transpire. Because with Pluto, there's this, you can't control what comes up. That's the thing about Pluto. And the more you can be, I suppose the more you can be conscious, the more you can reflect and be really honest about things, the more you can have an opportunity to grow through all this sort of dark stuff, or you can just spiral down, further deeper into it. Again, it just depends. This is the energy for the moment, though, of what's going on with Venus, Pluto. It's really powerful shit, to be honest, really, really powerful. As I said, I know several people experiencing a number of different things, all of which I've spoken about today. So have a think about it for your own self. Once again, if you're not in a personal relationship, just think about it in your own love style and love relating relative to everyone around you. Venus is how you relate to anyone. It doesn't matter who it is or what context. She is the principle of relatedness, which is the magnetic principle. She's the one that helps us attract what we desire, what we want, what we need. But, there is a dark side of Venus in Libra, which I've mentioned before, because originally Libra used to sit in between Virgo and Scorpio, in the claws of the scorpion in the original zodiac. So yes, Venus in Libra has all this, the Libran side to it that we know has, it's specifically come into consciousness, into humanity, into the wheel of the zodiac, because it needed to for a lot of different reasons, but the patriarchal side of things did misuse it in ways that were all about personal gain, and it was all about land and money. That's why marriage was originally brought into the scheme of things. Marriage had nothing to do with a true marriage is a sacred union between any two things that is decided from a sacred source or a sacred level within, right? Which has got nothing to do with I own you now because we're married and I own this and I own that and so on and so forth, which is why Libra originally was brought into the scheme of things, okay? That was the agenda behind that. But there is such a thing as sacred union, which we can even see through Venus in Libra, provided we don't get caught up in that world of ownership, which is the other side of what Venus rules, which is Taurus, okay? So yeah, I'll leave it there and I'll see you guys very soon. Much love, and I hope this is helpful. By the way, I have 2 full courses available. Third one I'm going to start working on very shortly. Let me know if you're interested in any of those, if you want to know what the topics are. The third course is going to be really advanced material. And also if you're interested in any kind of reading, there's a myriad of different types of readings that I offer, depending on what your needs are, so just reach out and let me know. Much love and see you soon.